I've read a lot of books in my life, just all the classics and all this kind of stuff. And you hear the same books over and over again. You hear Brothers K by Dostoevsky. You hear C.S. Lewis books and everything like that. Picture of Dorian Gray. You know, that's all well and good. But there's one book that I have not heard too many people recommend, and it is, in my mind, a classic. And I don't think it gets enough love or recognition. So I wanted to make a video featuring it and then have a little announcement at the end. The book is, if anybody was going to guess, Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton. This book probably has had one of the biggest effects on me of any book I've ever read. The whole setup of the book is this is a sequel to an earlier book he wrote that can be read alone. It's actually the first book I read of Chesterton's. His first book, he goes around criticizing all the modern philosophies, and and early postmodern philosophies too. And he just kind of breaking it all down, very critical. And this book is actually written as a response to critics who said that, it's all well and good that you criticize what we think, but can you show us what you think, what you actually think? So Chesterton says, you know what? That's a good point. I'm going to make this book. And that's how he wrote Orthodoxy. So every chapter is relatively self-contained, and he just kind of walks through different kind of features of what he believes and contrasts it to, a popular philosophy of that day. And so he covers everything. He covers, like politics, religion, every kind of facet, imagination, art, poetry. What's remarkable, because this, that sounds like it could be interesting, but why did it have such a big effect on me? And the reason is he hit me in a very specific place where I believed a lot of the things that he's criticizing in this book, but he has a way of writing that's so funny, and he has some sort of charisma that he's able to laugh at other people in a way that doesn't feel mean. It feels healing in a strange way. I would be reading and I'd be like, oh, that's what I think. And then he'd kind of flip everything on its head and show where it's all mistaken. And so he does this over and over again throughout the book. It really just changed the way I think about everything. I'm by far more mystical in my thinking. Chesterton has gotten me into poetry, and I can't be thankful enough for this book, for what it's done for me and for the way I think. So if you have any interest in anything I've ever made or thought about, chances are, this guy has something to do with it. I highly recommend reading this. It's not very long. This copy is like 200 pages long. It's free online. I have an audiobook version on this channel that's just kind of like a free public domain one that I just stole and put into a video. I did some editing on it, so it's a little bit better than the original version. It's on Project Gutenberg. You can just look it up and read a PDF. I highly recommend it. And so to encourage everybody to read this, because I've been working on it, I've been doing this, for the last few years. I've been trying to get people to read this book, and it has been an arduous task. And so what I've decided to do is I've gotten together a bunch of friends, some people you've seen on this channel, some people you may have seen on other channels, all people I've had discussions with. I'm kind of gathering everyone together, and we'll be going through this book chapter by chapter for the next 9 weeks. At least that's the plan. Scheduling stuff can always get in the way, but the plan is we'll be putting together a conversation pretty soon. So if you want to read along, feel free. We'll be going through the first chapter, and then that'll be posted pretty soon. I highly encourage everyone who's watching, take a little time. I think the audiobook's like 4 or 5 hours. If you listen to it on 2 times speed, maybe it's 6. You can get it through. You can do it in 3 hours, and it's amazing. That's like a long movie, so why not? That's my thought. Take my recommendation with a grain of salt. I have some weird taste in things, but I haven't heard anyone regret having read it. So if you kind of bounced off of Lewis with like any Mere Christianity or anything, I think Chesterton's much more readable. He's much more funny, and he has a lot better just banter. So I highly suggest it. This is a book I've quoted all the time. Like I'm constantly quoting this book because I just go through it so many times, about once a year for the last 5 years. Stuff will get stuck in your brain. You'll start using symbols and stories from the book, and I can't suggest it more. So I'm not going to try. And thank you all for watching. Look forward to that. I will probably make a playlist with all these videos. So if anybody's coming to this later and they see this, then I'll attach a playlist and you can just watch Chesterton Orthodoxy stuff. Have a great one, everyone, and I will see you very soon.